happening? It's North America's preeminent snowboarding personalities, Brandon Graham, alongside my partner, Craig McMorris. You may also know us as the Booth Boys. Craig, what an event. X Games Aspen 2021. My goodness.
I mean, mountains had to be moved to make this thing happen, but I'm happy they were moved and we were able to get this thing off the ground. Some great competition, and a round of applause to everybody who worked so hard to make this thing safe and healthy for everyone.
Well said. Well, you know what we like to recap most, the highlights of the things that we notice and the things that we tend to notice, the fits.
Yes.
Dusty Henricksen making his X Games debut. By the way, 2 gold medals, not too swaggy. But let's talk about the style, particularly the t-shirt and punk rock pants.
Dusty top to bottom was something that we need to highlight, okay? I'm going to start up top and you can take the pants here. You couldn't really see it because he did have a bib on, but in practice, he didn't have his bib on, and we got a great look. He had a huge tap-out shirt. I'm thinking double XL. I don't know where he acquired this piece of clothing, but I'm happy he did. And my only takeaway, my only reservation of the entire X Games, honestly, is that bib covered up his swag.
He's the type of 17-year-old that if he rolled up to either one of our homes when we were 17, guarantee my parents would be like, "You're not hanging out with him."
Yeah,
this is a bad.
He brought that energy, and then you got a good look at his pants too, because I thought the pants were almost the highlight.
Yeah, the patches. He had some punk rock patches, NoFX, JFA for the uninitiated. That's Jodie Foster Army. Some pretty hardcore stuff on there. I was also wondering, there's got to be a chain wallet somewhere in this.
There's some metal hanging around, and maybe it was a little tucked in because it was cold. You don't want that thing to freeze, lock up. So obviously, friends and family couldn't be in the audience watching everyone compete. But we had some Zoom calls in, and I believe that's Dusty's brother was rocking that tank top, that white tee tank top, and a huge tube, flexing a lot in there. And I felt like when somebody wears the perfect article of clothing like Dusty is, and then they bounce to that, what they did together on screen was magical.
It's what we call in the TV business a magic cut. And didn't you also get the vibe between Dusty and his brother? And I never met either of them. They just look like the type that probably wrestled a lot as kids. Didn't you get that vibe?
It's crazy that you said that, because that was sitting right there, right in the top of my forehead there. Entire broadcast.
All right, moving on. How about Fridge? Certainly a fan favorite with the Booth Boys. As you know, first we were obsessed with the backpack. He would never tell us what was in the backpack. Then he had a little stereo, a little boom box, which we thought was a neat little accessory to the backpack.
Yeah.
Now he has added, I don't know if it's a Beanie Baby, but some sort of small collectible stuffed narwhal to his backpack.
And word on the street, Brandon, this was made by his mom, given to him for good luck. Narwhal, obviously a very famous whale in Norway. So, I mean, it really constitutes it being on the backpack. And that's what I love about Fridge. He's got one piece of flair, then he adds it. I don't know if you're familiar with the movie Office Space. He could work at Tchotchkes because he's bringing that flair.
Not your 15-piece minimum. There is a minimum, but that's not what it's about. No. And since we're talking cinema, I would also like to bring up Elf, because if you remember at the beginning of the film, Mr. Narwhal says farewell to Buddy before he goes to the big city, New York. And I couldn't help but find the parallel with Fridge and having a narwhal before his first run in Knucklehuck.
It protects you on the journey.
Yeah, well said. Jamie Anderson made her debut in Knucklehuck, the first woman to ever compete in Knucklehuck. That's amazing. She had an incredible X Games, but I love the stripes. You know I'm a stripes guy.
I know.
And he's the lone rider with stripes in Knucklehuck.
What I thought this kit choice was symbolism. That's what it screamed to me, because she went out, won women's slope style, and then Knucklehuck was later that night. So she went home, had a full kit change. She put this on intentionally. And these are tiger stripes. What Jamie Anderson was doing at this X Games was hunting. What do tigers do? They hunt. So she melded that together. She hunted herself a couple gold medals, and for lack of a better word, she was fierce.
Let's move on to the pipe of the super variety. Joey Okeson made his X Games debut. He was an alternate and got the call maybe 18 minutes before the final started. And what I love about Joey, and again, I don't know if this was intentional or just oh my God, I'm in the comp. The credential was just flying just wildly throughout every single run. I'm not going to say it's distracting, but it was hard for you and I in replays to look at anything other than that.
I'm just looking at that credential swag. I can't stop.
You can't stop once you start.
It's like a disco ball.
Something very underrated that isn't talked about enough is how the credential actually helps with rotations.
Absolutely. See, look at it. Swing weight, we call that. Credential flare, about 12 out of 10. That thing was flying around him while he tried that double crippler.
It comes down to a confidence thing. This kid is a young, confident snowboarder, and a lot of times if you have your credential on your pant, you kind of roll it up, right? So maybe it's hanging off this much, right? Yeah. Maybe it's hanging off this much. He's got confidence. He does it up one. This is how much, I don't know if you can see that. That's how much confidence. It's literally measured. You can measure his confidence by seeing how long that credential was hanging off. And I don't know if he put in, he bedazzled it or what he did though, but when those lights hit that credential and bounced back, I was getting a lot of woes, you know, and I was happy with it.
I would have loved for DC or Jack Matrani, who are our field reporters for that event, to have just carried a measuring tape. And again, I know it's heavy, but it clips on nicely to the pant, and just pull it out after each run just to see if the length is changing, because I think you're right. I think it actually got longer each run.
Yeah.
Okay. This one. Unfortunately, Shaun White, first of all, get out of the DMs. A lot of you were saying, oh, you kept saying Shaun White was going to compete. You kept talking about Shaun White. Did we even bring that up? I feel like we didn't talk about Shaun White at all.
Not once.
Coming up later tonight, Shaun White. Shaun White here in Aspen was practicing after the break. Jack Matrani sits down with the GOAT.
Shaun White did get to sit down and do a chair chat with our own Jack Matrani. And, oh, daddy. You want to talk about fits.
Yeah.
I mean, has a photo ever been more Aspen than what you see of this look of Shaun White?
I mean, when you think of Aspen, you think of a lot of, you think of cinema, or you think of that kind of Western influence on that, What Shaun brought to it was completely different. It was a modern Aspen. And I like to see that, because sometimes it gets a little redundant, seeing the same thing every year. What Shaun White brought to it was style, was avant-garde. He was right at the front, and I thought that was a bold move, and I thought it was answered very, very well, because I thought it was a great piece. He also balanced off of Jack Matrani, who went really snowboard vibe. Shaun White kind of kept his own lane, and I respect him for that.
It was, in a lot of ways, the richest looking person I had ever seen. And I also, you know what? You can smell that outfit without even being near him. And you know what it smells like?
What's that?
Wealth by Drakkar Noir. Finally, we wrap this up, Craiger, very close to home. This really, in a lot of ways, became the thing is, you and I are the broadcasters. It shouldn't be about us. We're not the stars, even though we've been accused of wanting to be the stars. We're not. We have a role to play. But Sunday night, you really took center stage. As most of you know, we tend to wear at least one night every X Games. We put on our Sunday best, as we did at X Games Aspen, with our Western shirts and our bolo ties. It's a tradition unlike any other. Your look in particular, though, was somewhat inspired, and I hope we can bring the tweet up. You were getting a lot of Jonah Hill from Superbad comps, and they weren't wrong.
No, absolutely not. I kind of went, I went from the Rockin' Cowboy, a store in Vancouver where I got that shirt. And when I saw the tweet, I was like, wow, we're wearing the exact same shirt. But as you mentioned, it's Sunday best, and I looked great. And I know Jonah Hill looked great in that shirt. He went to a party. He had a blast, if you remember from the movie. So, I mean, it's all good things. It's all positive coming from it. And I want to secondly say, if I'm compared to Jonah Hill in any single way, that's a W. I mean, that guy can write, that guy can direct, that guy can act. And the character he plays in that thing is somebody I aspire to be, somebody who's friends and best friends with the person they're with.
I think you're, oh, yeah, that is good. Okay. I would love to room together with you freshman year, only to find out that maybe we had other plans. Right. Just thank God you did not wear a vest. Because that would have taken a devilish turn.
Yeah, I put that in my locker before.
All right. Anything else come to mind? Because I think we nailed the hits.
Absolutely. I think that was such a wonderful X Games. You did such a wonderful job calling it. Obviously very, very different, but sometimes different is good. And I thought there was some really, really insane riding. Obviously some incredible kits, and I look forward to the next one, Brando.
Yeah. Just real quick. Obviously, Dusty Henricksen, you're a legend. Jamie Anderson continues to be the queen. The return of Chloe Kim, I felt, you think about the pressure that she was under to come and perform after a year off. She did just that. And how about Eileen Gu? 3 X Games medals, 2 of them gold in your X Games debut. Like, you the real MVP.
I mean, it's not me, it's you. Eileen Gu went so hard. She kind of kicked in the door, you know? Women's skiing has been dominated by Eileen Gu. I mean, I can't say it in any other way.
Partner, let's do it again next year.
Can't wait, brother.